What's happening, everyone? Week 6 in the NFL has wrapped up officially after 2 Monday night games. Huge win for the Chicago Bears on the road to finish off week 6. And just before that, the Buffalo Bills lost to the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. But my biggest takeaway out of after 6 weeks of NFL football is there are no great NFL teams currently in the league. There are bad ones. If you watch the Jets, you know what I'm talking about. But as far as an elite or great football team, I can't pinpoint one because even the ones that seem to have gotten it together now obviously look sloppy in the beginning of the season, like the Chiefs, who are sitting at 3-3. So that's good. They look good, but you can't ignore those 3 losses. The week before, they lost in Jacksonville. Teams like Philly looked good, 4-0. Now they lost to the Giants. Teams that started bad, like even the Bears started off 0-2. Now they're 3-2. Yes, their wins have come against, not great teams. I'd say Washington's a pretty good team though, but now they lost to the Bears at home. So it's like, what are we supposed to do with this? So, I mean, looking back at the predictions here, we did all right this week. We went 10-5, so not bad. But it is really hard to get a read on these teams. I mean, even Green Bay looked good to start the season, right? They looked great. And now they barely beat a Bengals team with Joe Flacco, who just got there. And they've lost to the Browns. So they tied with the Cowboys. So I really don't know what to make out of this season so far. I mean, if there's anything I guess you could say is we need more time to kind of see these teams. I mean, the Broncos, I had them number 2 in my top 5 rankings, and they barely scraped by the winless Jets, who are 0-6. So again, there's one thing we know for sure. The Jets are horrible. But other than that, again, I mean, the Patriots started off the season with a loss to the Raiders. Now they're 4-2, and Drake May looks like the best QB from last year's quarterback draft class. So, I don't know what to make out of this, this NFL season so far. It's unlike, any recent season that I can remember. There's no more unbeatens. There's a winless team, but there's no more unbeatens. That changed 2 weeks ago already. The Buccaneers look like they could be the best team in the league. They're 5-1. And maybe that's who it is. And they're also banged up. So you know what? Maybe it's Tampa Bay, but they lost to Philly. So, I mean, sure, Philly seems like they're pretty good, but I don't know. Are they pretty good? I mean, again, it's really tough to tell. So let's recap this. Obviously, we already talked about the Thursday night game where Philly lost to the Giants. Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart looked pretty solid. The Broncos, again, that morning game, oh my God, that's got to be one of the most boring games of football I have seen this season. Nothing much going on. I actually halfway through kind of fell asleep for a little bit, woke back up. Yeah, just not a very fun football game. The Colts, we got to give them credit. They look pretty good, right? But they barely scraped by the Arizona Cardinals, who didn't even have their starting quarterback. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes with these teams, it's just hard to tell. I mean, they're sitting pretty at 5-1. Their one loss, you could argue, should have been a win. Had Adonai Mitchell not dropped the ball before crossing the goal line, but still a loss to the Rams. So the Chargers took care of business in Miami, barely winning, but they got it done. They're 4-2. They're looking okay after, they had lost to the Giants. They had a couple games where they didn't look great. I mean, New England is a team that kind of really, I don't want to say surprised because they played the Saints, and the Saints are one of those teams that we can be pretty sure are not good. But it's the way Drake May played, the way they schemed things up for him. He looked terrific. And maybe it's the Patriots that we're going to be talking about, weeks from now as that surprise team that actually comes through. I mean, if Drake May continues playing like this, I don't see why not. Pittsburgh, quietly, remember, I did predict them to win the AFC North, and they're sitting pretty at 4-1, took care of the Browns at home. Dallas, who I had picked, lost to Carolina. So on our board, that was actually the first loss aside from the Thursday night game because I had the Eagles, but I had picked Dallas. They lose in Carolina. So Dallas looked like they could be a frisky team, and then now they lose to Carolina. So now Dallas is 2-3-1. The Panthers are 3-3, but, they beat the Falcons 30-0, but then they'll have losses that you question, like, what are we doing here? So again, I mean, last minute field goal there. The Panthers get the win. Seattle and Jacksonville. Seattle looks all right, pretty good. They're 4-2, but they did lose to Tampa. And I think the other loss was to the 49ers. But again, Seattle, Sam Darnold looking pretty good. My take on Sam Darnold is now that he's found himself, I think he is essentially what Kirk Cousins was during the prime of his career. And that's great. That's a winning caliber quarterback. He'll get you numbers. He'll make throws. But, the knock with Kirk O'Chains was, can he perform in prime time? Will he shrink in that moment? And that's going to be, no matter how good of a season Sam Darnold has this year, that's going to be the question for him. After both of his chances last year to come through when it really mattered most, he, laid 2 eggs and looked like he was seeing ghosts out there for the Vikings. So we'll see. Once they get in the playoffs, Seattle, which I anticipate they will, how does he perform then? And that's maybe where, the trajectory of his career changes. The LA Rams and Baltimore took care of business. Again, Baltimore's just super banged up. No Lamar in this game either. Ugly game. The biggest news probably from that game is that Puka Nacua gets injured. So now a team like the Rams that are 4-2, and you looked at and we're like, okay, this is a team that could have Super Bowl aspirations. Well, now the best wide receiver is out probably for the foreseeable future. It looked like, I think it was a high ankle sprain, so he might be out for like at least 4 weeks. What does that do for them? All right, Tennessee in Las Vegas, the Raiders took care of that. I mean, that game really just was, not, I don't know how many people watched that game, but also the Titans, they fired Brian Callahan. So we have our first coach fired. Surprisingly, it wasn't Mike McDaniels from Miami. He's still around. We'll see how long he lasts. But yeah, Brian Callahan is out. And that's that for the Titans. I mean, yeah, with Cam Ward, they have not looked good. They have 1 win. And it was a win that really the Cardinals kind of gave them because they literally dropped the ball last week. And that's how the Titans were able to get their lone victory of the season. They're 1-5. Green Bay, again, a team that I thought Super Bowl aspirations for sure. And yeah, they got the job done. They got the win. But I'm one of those people that if you're playing a average or bad team, I expect you to smack them if you want to be considered legit. They still won by 9. So, but they didn't cover. The spread was 13.5. And honestly, it was like a touchdown game in the fourth quarter. And I just feel like the Packers are missing that oomph. And I don't know what it is. They're also pretty capped out now after trading for Micah Parsons. So I don't see them like being able to trade for a big playmaker now or anything like that. So who knows? Feel like everyone's just kind of in the middle. San Francisco at Tampa Bay lost this one as well. I actually picked San Francisco to upset Tampa, but Tampa keeps doing it no matter the injuries, and they didn't just scrape by. They won 30-19. So Tampa Bay is looking damn good. And then we had the Sunday Night Football game, Kansas City. I picked the Chiefs, and they ended up beating the Lions. Again, the Lions, a team that had they won this week, they would have been 5-1, top of the NFC North. People would have been saying, all right, this is the team to beat in the NFC. But now they lose 30-17. The offense only put up 17 points to a Chiefs team that's 3-3. So again, just if the Chiefs team ends up being 10-3 in 10 weeks from now, all right, then maybe we'll look at the Lions and be like, oh, that was an okay loss because the Chiefs are really, really good. But right now, the Chiefs are a 500 football team. So it's hard to tell. Buffalo now has dropped 2 in a row. This is Monday Night Football. They took on the Falcons on the road. Now the Bills are 4-2. They're not even in first place in their division. It's the Patriots atop the AFC East. And the Falcons get a win. They go 3-2, and you're like, oh, damn, like the Falcons looked pretty good last night. Maybe they're one of the elite teams in the NFC. And then you think back to 2-3 weeks ago, they lost to the Panthers 30-0. So every team's got a good win and a bad loss pretty much. And then you got the Bears who were in position to lose this game. Jaden Daniels drops, first of all, the Washington guy missed a tackle really terribly, which allowed the Bears and DeAndre Swift to get a 50-yard touchdown pass on what should have been about a 5-yard gain. That pulls them to within 2 points. So it was 24-22 at that point because I think they went for 2 and missed it. And the Commanders trying to run the clock out, fumble with all the rain. And now the Bears are in business at their own 45-yard line, and they drive. I mean, they could run on Washington all day long. Washington's defense did not look good. Credit Caleb Williams making the throws he had to make. I've been saying Caleb is looking pretty good this season. He should have had 2 picks, though. I will say that. One of them, the linebacker for, I think it was the linebacker for Washington, completely just dropped it, hit him right up here, dropped it, and it was in the red zone. The other one, he threw it up to Rome Odunze with double coverage, and I mean, it was a good defensive play, but a veteran corner safety probably picks that off. So it wasn't his best game, but he's getting the job done. I think he's fine. 252 yards, a touchdown, no turnovers. So that's great if you can get that from Caleb. And if the defense shows up and the running game is there, the offensive line looked really good last night. So again, now the Bears, I mean, I don't even want to say the schedule eases up because, like I said, all these teams, they just get random wins here and there, but they should go 6-2. They have 3 very winnable games coming up. And I mean, could it not be the Bears that end up being the sleeper team? I mean, they play the Saints at home next week at Baltimore. I feel like even if Lamar's back, Baltimore is not that scary anymore. Their defense is not good. At the Bengals with Joe Flacco. Yeah, and then even the Giants at home. So you could be looking at this Bears team. I mean, possibly, 7-2 is a real possibility for them. And again, you never know. Next thing you know, they surprise you and lose to the Saints. So it's just crazy this season. So overall, 10-5. Our 3 losses came in the Giants game. I had the Eagles. The Giants ended up winning. I had San Francisco with the upset in Tampa. Tampa ended up winning. And I had Atlanta losing to Buffalo, but they ended up winning. And I had Washington winning, and they lost to Chicago. So where's the 4? Oh, Dallas and Carolina. I had Dallas winning, and they lost. So hard to tell. And before we close this up, I want to give credit to Baker Mayfield. Look, Baker Mayfield is playing MVP type football right now, and people need to understand that what he's doing is not just the numbers, and it's not just like how they're winning. He is down to like his number 5 and 6 receivers pretty much. And Emeka Egbuka got hurt this game. They're without Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's not playing. Bucky Irving didn't play. And, the 49ers are banged up, don't get me wrong, but they're still 4-1. And he's been doing this. I mean, he hasn't had Mike Evans for a few weeks. He's been making plays like this. I mean, this should have been a sack. It's 3rd and 14. And look at Baker go. This should be down right there. Nope. Ah! I mean, how many missed tackles is that? So 1, 2. I mean, 3 right here with this guy. 4 missed tackles. I mean, again, I don't know how he's doing it, but these are the plays that maybe don't go on the stat sheet. They're going to go on the stat sheet as a 15-yard run. But this is way more than a 15-yard run. And this is why right now, Baker Mayfield is the NFL MVP. And if he keeps this up, I don't see how you don't give it to him. Again, I said Dak Prescott's playing pretty great football as well, but he's like Joe Burrow from last year where you put up all the stats and look good, but the team's just not that good. Tampa, their schedule's not as easy. That's why maybe this will dip a little as we move forward, but he's been doing it against legitimate teams. I mean, at the Texans, at the Falcons, Eagles at home, at the Seahawks, 49ers. When you looked at this at the start of the season, you didn't think like, all right, they're going to go 5-1. The Jets were an easy win, I guess you could say, but everything else is a challenge. Now they go to Detroit next week, at the Saints, Patriots, Bills, Rams, Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. So it eases up, I guess, towards the end when they have to play the Panthers, Dolphins, and Panthers again in the last 3 weeks of the season. So that's a nice finish, I guess. So if you count those 3 as wins, I mean, they really just need 2 to 3 more wins right here in this next, 7 to 8 games. And if they get that, they're going to get 10 wins and they're going to get in the playoffs. So Baker has been just killing it for them. So good for the Buccaneers and their fans. And, I want to say it was a fun week 6, but realistically, it was kind of a boring week 6. There was not too many great games. Even the Bucs 49ers, Baker was fun, but it wasn't that close. So hopefully next week's slate's a little better. We'll start looking ahead here as the week goes on, but week 6 is wrapped up. Season continues, and I'm never going to complain about watching NFL football. So thanks for watching this. Remember to subscribe if you can. like, comment, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'll have to come up with a new power rankings. And let me tell you, it's going to be way shifted around because we got to welcome in some new teams that are actually winning, even though we don't maybe see them as being, the gauntlets of the NFC or AFC. But hey, your record, you are what your record says you are. So we got to start respecting it that way. And we'll see where we fall with the power rankings this week. So I'll talk to y'all soon.